What up, what up, what up? Happy Friday, happy Friday. Man, for a second there, I just thought, I'm like, it reminded me of one of my friends said it to me the other day. He like joined us on Xbox and he's like, what up, what up, what up? And I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you putting me on blast in front of everyone?
Because he wants to make you feel awkward.
That was
it's
weird.
Fun.
If you're listening, stop it. That's all I'm going to say. Stop it.
No, keep doing it.
Oh, man.
Make fun of him. Do it.
What is going on, everyone? Happy Friday. I guess we'll get into the intros real quick, and then I want to follow up with a not like a warning, but like a just so you know.
Is that song?
So, oh man, what is going on, everyone? I'm Shadell, co-host of Paging the Simpsons. I'm joined by my lovely fiance,
The very stuffy Lauren.
and this is when my just letting you know comes in.
Well,
So
we filmed the Tuesday and the Fridays back to back. So if you heard us on Tuesday, I'm still sick. So here
Yeah.
I am, sounding stuffy and nasty, and
yeah,
it's been a ride.
The weather has been changing a lot lately. So like it was cold.
Yeah, it'll be like 40 degrees, and then it's back to 85, and yeah.
And at first, like, I got sick, so I had like stuffy nose, runny nose, like I wasn't feeling good, all that stuff, like sore throat.
And then he gave it to me.
I don't think I gave it to you.
I think you did, because you breathing on me all night.
Okay. Well, I don't think I gave it to you.
Okay.
I just think it's a change in the weather.
Uh-huh.
And so you're currently like in the process of that whole sickness transition stuff.
I'm dying.
I'm coming off it. Like I still feel like the mucus in the back of my throat, and like how you'll see as I talk through this. Like sometimes I have to like pace myself because I'm like, hold up, I gotta like correct my.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like mine's worse than yours was.
Yeah, but I just suck it up
I'm
and
like
deal with it. That's the problem.
Yeah, okay, suck it up. But I just feel like I'm dying. I haven't been sick
That's
like
how
this
it
in a
felt.
long time, so I'm just like.
That's how I felt last week, but thankfully we did not record the podcast during that time. So
Yeah, good for you.
But it's because it was the weekend, so a week. I mean, so yeah, of course, of course. All right, whatever. So I wanted to have this conversation, and you say before we started this episode that we talked about this before. I'm sure we have. We talked about this in a lot of different aspects. And if you haven't known, because you just click on this podcast without reading the title, yeah, we're talking about white privilege, just straight up.
The whites are at it again.
Because this was brought up because of Chelsea Handler's new documentary that she has on Netflix. It's called like "Hello Privilege, My Old Friend" or something like that.
No, isn't it like "Hello Privilege"? It's me, Chelsea.
Oh, I think that's what it is.
It's like the book. What is it? Hello God, it's me. Something I forget the name.
I don't know,
but I feel like it's a play on words with the
search
book.
Chelsea Handler and you'll see it on Netflix. And we had conversations watching it. It's like an hour long, and like she talks to a range of different people that have all different types of viewpoints, and she tries getting an understanding of this, and like what could she do better as a person to treat people of color like better. So I wanted to have this conversation because we stopped like in the middle of the what do you call it, documentary.
Man, we got into a deep conversation.
We had our own like 20-30 minute conversation outside of it.
It was a tangent too. It kind of went off into another sector, but
so I wanted to take it onto the podcast and talk about it a bit more. To get into it briefly on the Chelsea Handler documentary. So like the beginning was shocking to me because I wasn't expecting to see like Kevin and Tiffany Haddish there as like she opened with them and like asking them like, you know, what is white privilege to you? And then they essentially break it down where it's like Chelsea, she didn't have any barriers. Like she can't say like she had a hard time getting through this because of whatever. Like Kevin's sitting there saying like he had to know people to be like, hey, can you make a call out to this person? Can you call this person? Like he had to like really work hard to like get past these like barriers that were in his way. One thing that was really crazy was when Tiffany gave her point. And you saw, like, she started tearing up, and it's like, okay, this is serious. Like, yeah.
Ironically enough, if you're watching the video, I'm not crying. I'm just dying. So
I want to talk about
that
this.
was good timing, though.
I
I wasn't expecting her to do that. But, we're all human.
And talking, like, man, there's so many things to, like, cover this. Let's start from here. Let's start with this. Just because you're not white and rich doesn't mean that, like, hey, you don't have white privilege. If you're white, you have white privilege.
Well, I liked how, and this was kind of in the middle of it, but I liked how she was talking to, I don't know who that white guy was.
I forgot his name. I think his name's like Robert something, I believe.
He's like middle-aged, and they would go back to him a few times, and they were talking about how okay, let me get this right. A white person who didn't finish high school has, I think it was a 30% more or something likelihood of being successful than a black person who finished college. And like that, white people could be working class. And he said it. And I thought, this was very powerful, as he's not saying that the people who are white in the working class are not struggling. It's just that you automatically have kind of this up.
Yep.
You have this step up that others do not. And so I thought that was pretty powerful, because you put that in perspective. Like, if you dropped out as a sophomore in high school and you're doing better than a person that went to 4 years or 6 years of college, that's a big difference. And it's like, for what?
And that's why I put so much pressure, not even pressure, but like I pat myself on the back so much that I'm like, I went to college. I tried the whole college thing. That's not for me. Had to like drop out however many years in. And like I just started working and like maneuvering my way through the corporate world and still going. And like here we are. Like, we have our own place. We have cars, like nothing fancy, but it's livable. Like, we don't have to worry about bills. Like, we know where everything's coming from. Like, I like that. And it's like, I want to continue this. And it's like, it's a good, just to show this to everyone, and mainly for like my siblings, like for my little brother and little sisters, to be like, yo, look at my older brother there. Like, he's a black guy, and they're like, I don't know, just having that like other person that you can look up to that's like around your age. Like, yeah, he was able to do it. Like, how'd he do it?
Let me ask you a question, because when you bring that up, do you think people would use it against you that you're with me?
No, because how'd you help me?
Well, I mean, obviously both our incomes go into everything. It all, it all adds up. I had the down payment for this place. Like, there's variables that I feel like people could hold. Like, I wonder if they try to hold it against you that, well, you're not with a black woman, you're with a white woman, so automatically you have like a step up that, I wouldn't, or whatever.
That doesn't make sense, because you didn't help me. Like, when I say that you helped me, because I said in the past, when I say that you helped me, like, motivate me to get these next positions, you were just the person that was there, because it could be anyone. Doesn't matter the race. It could have been anyone that was behind me saying, hey, you can do it. Like, go for it. Try it. It could have been anyone.
Well, no, I'm saying with the financial part, I guess. Because, like, with the down payment on the place, and like with the fact that obviously our money is all pooled together and goes towards stuff, I don't know. I wonder if people would try it, just being like, well, that was helpful because.
No. So even if, let's say I met someone that was black, nice black girl, she was dope, cool, motivated, supported me, pushed me to keep on moving throughout the corporate world, all that stuff. She didn't have however much to like put a down payment on a place. That's fine, but we'll still be able to create a plan. Like, depending on who I'm with, I know the person's going to be smart, and we're both going to be able to put our minds together, be able to work on something. Because, no offense, I wasn't up to like moving that fast. Like, life was cool. I didn't have to like move in. So if I found someone that wasn't financially able to move in together, that's fine. I'm still growing, maneuvering, living my life, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll just figure it out as things progress. So no, like, race has not helped me. And I hate when people want to compare, like, oh, you got like, not even compare, but like say it to like someone like Donald Glover or Jordan Peele. I don't know, like people that have white wives and like they get mad at them. But I'm like, I still have to go out in the world as a black man. No matter who I'm with, it doesn't change how I'm treated.
Well, that and individually, obviously, because if you're out by yourself, but I don't know. I was just thinking...
Even when you're with me, it doesn't change anything. I feel like I get even more backlash if you were with me and we were in a certain area.
True.
Like, I don't want to go down south with you and be around you in certain areas. Like, what? Let's be real now.
Well, I honestly, and I wonder, those typically more racially charged places, if... I wonder how they'd react to me, too. Because, like, sure, they'd get mad that you're with me. Like, they'd take it out on you, but I feel like...
I don't think there's anything.
I don't know.
It's not. You could tell by the media. Media kind of media pushes everyone to where they think everyone should be. Because I'm gonna bring it back here. Why do we think black people are so intimidating? Like the media has trained you. Like,
yeah. Have
you watched the show Sons of Anarchy?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's a biker show. A lot of people have watched it, so they'll understand where I'm coming from with this. When you see a white guy with a biker jacket on, like, you're automatically thinking of that show saying, man, this guy's probably going to go sell drugs. Maybe he goes to a bar and he gets into fights and all that stuff. Like, the media goes, like TV shows, news, like, it automatically goes and portrays people as a certain label. And it's like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
You never see, you told me earlier, don't give anybody this one.
No. Because
I'll say it also. Earlier, where it's like, yeah, you get a bit more hesitant if it's a black guy. I'm assuming it's not like always like if it's a black guy, oh man, I'm stepping like the other way. But like, you kind of gauge how the person like looks and their demeanor,
right?
And you're like, all right.
It's because like I said, it's like growing up. I grew up in a very white town and just didn't have any experiences, and it was that kind of. Yeah, that's how it was. It was the whole, oh, we're not racist, but there's this kind of underlying nervousness. Like it was,
we're not racist, but
well, and we, no one would say that, but that's exactly what it is.
That's hilarious.
That's how it's portrayed. Is like, and it's like the video you were watching before, where it's just I forget the exact words he used. I was gonna try and use them, but where, you're just kind of trained that that's how you should view those people.
Yeah, exactly.
And so obviously now it's like things have changed for me, but sometimes, it's like, I don't know, what's the saying? Old habits die hard or something like that, where it's like you just, there's still in you,
I'm gonna
even
say
if
this,
you don't want them to be, and even if you've worked on it. I'm
not saying that you're racist or whatever, because I gauge people all the time, so I'm with you. If I see some guy that's like around my age, whatever, dresses more hip hop ish, like is a part, like you could tell he likes the culture, likes the rap culture. I'm with it. I dress similar.
Well, no, like, and this could be a stereotype, but it's like. For example, if your pants are sagging really low, I mean, I don't know. It's like you don't seem as friendly or open to people like me.
And I can see that because I don't see it as just a black thing, but I get where you're coming from because it's like, you're not familiar with this group of people, all that stuff. I get it. Because like there's a place like the next town over. Where it's like we'll go to like a vegan place and like there's a bunch of black guys crowded on the sidewalk, and that makes me feel uncomfortable. I even feel uncomfortable, not to even make this a black thing. I feel uncomfortable when I see a group of white kids. Oh, I know which one you're talking
about. I was trying to think which town over. I know what you're talking about.
I feel uncomfortable when I see a group of white kids like huddled together. Like I feel uncomfortable when there's any men. Well, in general.
Also, the thing is that area. Even if it wasn't black men at that point, that area is like.
But forget the area. I'm just saying in general.
Whoever's like huddling.
If I feel like there's a group of men, boys, whatever you want to label them as, I automatically feel uncomfortable. But I get what you mean when you see black people because that's how we were portrayed. Like, it sucks, when I have to walk into a store and like not touch anything unless I'm really actually gonna buy it because someone may mistake that like I picked up something and I put it in my pocket or something.
No, like fun fact. whenever I have my purse with me, I always make sure to be really careful that I'm not reaching in my purse when I'm in a store. Because I feel like people are gonna assume that I'm putting stuff in there.
But guess
because
what?
Even like this one woman came up to me recently in one of the Ultas, and she even said something like that. She's like, "Oh, I was looking for this one, and like I didn't want to take it out because I didn't want anyone to think I was stealing." And like, and so then she reached in front of me to get it, and I'm like, so yeah.
Now that you say that, let's transition to that. Yo, white privilege is the fact that because you go to like these Ulta stores and sell like this makeup for this brand.
Yeah.
And you see how like a white person can come in and it be fine.
There's one particular store. Yes.
But, yeah, a white person can come in, it be fine. No one treats this white lady any differently.
Yes.
Then a black woman comes in and it's like, it's a problem. We gotta be watching.
There was this one particular store that rubbed me the wrong way. They're in a very affluent area. It's an affluent town. The demographic is majority white. And I'm pretty sure there's not even a black person that works at that store now that I think about it.
Wow.
There's some Hispanic women who work there, but I'm pretty, at least that I have seen. I've never, I don't think I've seen a black woman there, or man. And so, yeah, there was this one time, and it was like last year, and these couple black women came in, and like all the managers are kind of like, talking, and they're like, oh, you just like watch her. She's over by the perfumes, and like all, just like the way they kind of like were on. And I was so disgusted because they literally never do that to anybody else. I understand that this store also in general, it's pretty good when it comes to theft because there are some Ultas where like, dang, they're like high theft stores because they're just in areas, so like this store as a whole is pretty good, but like the fact that you could have a group of white people come in and that's fine, and they could do the split, and they could be like walking back and forth a long time, and all the signs, they could do the same thing
and probably
and it was right, probably get away with it, and it's fine. But all of a sudden it was these two black women, and they were spending a little too much time over by one section, and it's like, really? I was really irritated at that.
See, this is my issue. Why does you being uncomfortable with my skin color such an issue? Like, you need to check yourself instead of it's like I have to sit there and adjust myself of how I act and everything when I'm not doing anything wrong. And
I felt conflicted. I wanted to say something. I ultimately didn't because I felt it wasn't my place, because I'm coming in here as a freelancer. I don't even work at this store like part or full time. And these are the managers that work here full time. And I don't know. I felt like it was overstepping my position, my professional position, to say something. But I still look back at it and I'm just really irritated by it.
Yeah.
Like, if I worked there, if I actually worked as an employee there, I probably would have said something.
During like that Chelsea documentary, you caught it. I forgot I'm gonna butcher this completely. She said something along the lines, either she or the guy she was talking with was like, equality to all doesn't mean inequality for. Oh God, is it just white people or some, or how, I don't know how they said it. I don't know, but essentially they said some like phrase or some quote.
Yeah, it was basically like, if we're all in this together, that it doesn't mean that I'm taking from your opportunities. It's kind of the same, I think, rationale that they use for Mexicans, like the whole administration, and how, they're taking our jobs. It's no, it's the whole idea that we all have opportunity then. It's not, we're not like snatching your opportunities.
I'm not trying to get political with this. I hate getting political with the podcast. I try making it fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
But for the sake of this topic, you have to, in the like climate we're in, where it's like, yeah, Trump is pushing a narrative where it's like, yo, if you don't vote for me, it's gonna be a problem like these next however many years. Like, he's making it all fear-based. He ran off, they're taking your jobs away. Like, I'm going to bring back, these, I don't even know, like these manufacturing plants, these car manufacturers, like all these things. But, yeah, everyone's dying. Like, all these companies are dying. These terrorists are killing them. Like,
oh God.
Like, all these, he runs straight off fear. And it's like, hello. Like, I feel like all these people don't have like a family member or like don't know anyone. I feel like we all know someone. Sorry. That like
I'm dying too.
That like rules people with fear. And I'm like, I feel like these people are like so easily able to be controlled. Because it's like, what? Do you really believe this?
Okay, well, not to get too into that. What were you saying about the whole equality?
I'm just saying. Well, I feel like maybe I heard it differently, but I feel like it was essentially what my thought was when I heard it was, yeah, we want equality for everyone, but people see it as like, if everyone's gonna be equal, then that means I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna have my priority, my status, like
my opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what the phrase meant.
People are so
me,
scared.
How I took it.
Yeah, people are so scared that like, oh, if others finally get, you know, what they deserve or they get help or whatever, that that means I'm screwed because. And you know what's hilarious about that? If you recognize that, when they finally get help, that you're scared that you're screwed, you literally know what white privilege is. You're just not addressing it. Because if you put that together, you're saying it yourself that, I already have an up that I don't want to lose.
So, exactly. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a conversation with like a friend or a family member on why do you feel uncomfortable around black people or Spanish people or why? Like,
nope.
Damn, that's kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, my family's a whole different story. And then my friends, I don't know. We've just never had conversations like that because I also don't know. Like, I feel like my friends are pretty open and stuff like that. And
I'm going to stop you there for a moment.
We just haven't gotten into it.
They could be open, but open to the sense that, like, you were, where it's like,
right.
I don't see color. Right. I don't have a problem with you guys, but, you know, you don't cross paths. I don't know.
See, and it's weird because I just never thought to bring something like that up.
You don't think about it?
When me and my friends talk heavy topics, it's typically, and this probably sounds really self-absorbed, it's typically stuff that's affecting our lives. Yeah. So it could be, it could be the job stress or the breakups or the, family stuff or all that stuff is kind of the heavier conversations. It never occurred to me to actually like just bring that up out of the blue.
I probably had this conversation with one of my best men, but outside of that, I probably haven't had this with any other like friends. Not
Your
even
best
close friends.
Men. One of his best men.
Yeah. I feel like we've had that one conversation. That was it. Because it's like...
Well, not for nothing. I feel like it's a little easier for you to segue into that. Because especially if you're talking to a white friend, you're already black. So you can kind of be like, I just want to know how you view this since, that kind of thing. Versus like me, I'm coming out of left field and I'm like, we're going to talk about this now. And I understand what she was saying, how it's like, yes, these things have to be talked about. People have to get uncomfortable and that kind of thing for change to happen. But I'm just saying,
what I think
haven't.
More things need to stop happening where it's like a black person is telling a white person like, hey, like I feel uncomfortable, this isn't right, this and that. Where it's like more white people need to sit there and talk to each other and be like, why do you feel uncomfortable? Why do you feel like jobs are being taken away?
Well, and that's something they even said in the documentary. Excuse me. Was they're like, we've talked to you guys enough about our oppression and like the stuff that's been happening. It needs to be more focused on white people to white people. Educating the ones who are not as educated and the whole support system. Yeah. Because it's like there's enough people that already know what's happening. You need to now like... broaden that.
Chelsea brought on like her ex-boyfriend from like way back, and she gave an example where it's like they were caught for drugs for 3 years. Sorry, 3 times, not 3 years. They caught her drugs for 3 times, and each time the cop let her go and arrested her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
And it's like I think I've said this before. While like me and my friend, we were riding around. Not doing anything bad, weren't speeding, whatever. I think we were headed to like the movies or something. And like as we were headed to the movies and we got into the parking lot, like there was these cops following us for like a good while because they saw us, and I don't know what I think I was looking right out the window because I was bored. My friend was driving, so I was just looking out the window, just like my head to the window, just looking out, like just bored.
How dare you?
And
who do you think you are?
Well, and the cop was on that right side of the road, so he goes and pulls out, and we noticed this.
Whoop whoop whoop.
He doesn't. No, they just follow us. They follow us all the way to the movie theater, and then once we turn into the movie theater, he hits the sirens, and then we had to stop. And I feel like I've said this on the podcast, but I'm going to say it again for forever because it was just wild to me. Where I have like these rubber bands on. I had this one probably on for like years currently, where it's Smile More from Roman Atwood. But before I had like one that was Trapper, which was a video game way back. And
he literally never takes them off. Like literally, like pool, shower, all of it.
At least they're always clean. So I had the one that said Trapper on it because that's one of the characters that you could play in the game. There's Trapper, whatever. And the cop goes, he's like, "What does Trapper mean? Is that a gang thing?" Like,
oh my god.
In my head, I'm like,
what?
Yeah.
On a bracelet?
So 2 things happened.
Who does that? What gang does that?
One, in my head, I'm like, what are you talking about? And audibly, I'm like, no. Like, what? And then, I don't know why.
And you were younger. You must have been like, what, 16 or something?
No, I wasn't that young.
Oh, really?
This didn't happen that young. This is probably when I was like 18 or 19.
Oh, well, that was still technically before me. Yeah.
Probably 19-ish, I'd like to say.
Still. I wonder how long they would have followed you if you just kept going.
I don't know.
Probably until the town ended.
Probably until we got on the highway. They're like, not only stop them before they go on this highway.
I don't know. They would have tried until the town ended. And then what I really wonder is if they would have involved the next town.
I don't know. But essentially, they stopped us, asked for my ID along with my friends, which I don't... Some people I explain this to, they say, like, I guess that's normal. Some people are like, it seems weird.
That's weird.
Because, like, we weren't doing anything illegal. We weren't speeding. We weren't doing anything. Like, there was nothing illegal happening. So it didn't make sense for me to also be ID'd. But whatever. I'm not going to fight with it. Take it. Read it. Whatever. And I guess the cop goes and says, like, he stopped him because of his front license plate. It wasn't on, but, like, he had his license plate, like, in the window. So it's like, even though it's not on, it's still present.
Whoa. I thought in our state you didn't even have to have a front license.
Yeah, Connecticut you have to.
You do?
Yeah.
Why the heck did I always think you didn't have to?
Look it up. I'm pretty sure I looked at, because when I was looking up like Tesla to see if like, because Tesla looks cool without a front license plate. But I looked up in Connecticut. I'm pretty sure you have to.
Maybe it changed because I could have sworn that there was a time you didn't need it.
Why do you still have one? Take one off. Take your front license plate off your car. See if you get away. Yeah. You probably will.
No. You know, I see where you're going there. Excuse me.
They'll let you off with a warning, like, all right, ma'am, just make sure you get a front license plate on that.
Why? Wow, that was kind of rude with that accent.
Oh God, I'm dying. This is
Anywho,
man, at the end of it, it's like, back to the topic. So yeah, he stopped us, all that stuff. It checked out. It was all fine because, of course, we weren't doing anything illegal. He just gave my friend a warning saying you have to have that on the front, and I don't think he ever did like change it. But he's white. He can get away with it.
Oh my gosh.
And then I remember, I think it was probably within the same month or like the next month after, we got pulled over again. But this one, it was completely my friend's fault. He was driving, and there's like a street we go down, and like normally both the lights are green at the same time. But it just happened where the next light after was red, and that like never happens, and we've lived here forever.
And they went yeet.
And there's a cop right behind us.
Yeah.
And man, you went right past that red light, and the cop, as soon as he saw it, he put the lights on. And even the cop was like, man, I totally get it. Like, those lights are normally green. He gave us a warning. Like, it was all cool. And he was a cool cop. Like, I'm glad someone understands this. Like, normally that doesn't normally happen. So I just say that to say not all cops are bad, but that's just my experience. But again, those were 2 different towns. Also, you know what I'm talking about. 2 different towns. And if not, I'll explain more off air. But 2 different towns. So one in the more white town.
I know the first one
that you grew up in.
I know the first one.
And then one in my neck of the woods.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
two different vibes, two different And another instance dealing with cops, since we're going to talk about privilege. Another one when I was like younger.
Sir.
This is I said this on the podcast I think before, where we were shooting fireworks off, the legal ones that go up in the air, and we went right back to the crime scene where we shot off one earlier in the night.
The crime scene.
We shot one off again back in that same spot, and then sped off as soon as it like did the whole fireworks thing.
Yeah.
And then there was the cops waiting at the front of we were in like a parking lot, so it was empty, no one was there. It was late at night, and like these cops pulled out with like M16s or whatever because someone reported saying it was gunshots. I'm like, come on now, you know what a firework sounds like. Nonetheless,
Yeah, well, imagine nowadays.
I mean, this was like back in like 2000. This was before we met, so like 2013,
saying, now it's even worse
2012.
PTSD.
But yeah, that one again, that went smoothly. It was warnings. I think my friend got a fine he had to pay. That was it. Like,
Yeah.
but my biggest thing when it comes to privilege. Actually, hold up. Before I even get into that,
Okay.
I want to talk about this next part. The part that we cut off from, that we paused the show on, was when the Republican campaign manager and her friends, one of them was like, don't black people have privilege too?
There was one woman I really disliked.
And she's like, it's like it's all fake or something like that.
Yeah,
or,
she they were really trying it.
Dog, if I see someone and we're having a conversation and you tell me to my face that like privilege is not a thing or that I'm making it up or anything like that, I will be so upset. I won't physically do anything to you, but I will take you with me to these places. You can come around with me. We'll take a drive to like different stores and you can see what it is. And you can't say it's all in my head when I have to sit there and be like smile to people and like not give off any bad energy and watch how I move and act. Like, come on now.
You should go to the mall and you should go to Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's and all those places.
Oh, of course.
You know, Louis Vuitton with the freaking guy that stands at the door like so stern and all that.
Well, same thing with Tiffany's. They have someone in like every room.
Oh, I know.
And like,
and they're always watching. Even I feel nervous in those places, okay? Literally, like,
yeah, but,
I feel nervous, and the stuff is in a case, mind you, but I'm like, I don't even want to, like, touch the case.
The thing is, you're white, so you're like, okay, this white girl's not going to steal from us.
But it's nerve-wracking because I'm like, money.
Dog, I walk in, they were like, this black guy, he doesn't have the money to afford anything.
Suddenly 3 people are, like, staring at you.
Why is he in here for? The lady probably wouldn't even take me seriously. I'm like, I want to see this ring for my wife. You have a wife?
Right.
Can you afford this ring? So we have a payment plan.
Right.
Yo, I would be so mad.
Well,
like,
what about
I'm
this
out.
one? This one's a little more affordable. Oh my God.
Man.
See, I want to go into one of those stores one day because I had went into Louis Vuitton once and I was just dressed super casual and I had like all eyes on me because like, you know, they're very like proper and all, you know, you have to come in looking a certain way because clearly if you know, you can't be rich and have sweats, you know? So, I literally want to go into one of those stores someday and look the bummiest ever and just buy like something super expensive and just like see the awe on people's faces. I would love to do that. Just like when I go into like Sephora or Ulta and I have no makeup on and people assume I can't do makeup because like if you like, what?
I don't know.
You know, all these assumptions. Anyway, sorry.
Here. So, also my next thing is I feel like a lot of you white people, speaking to white people specifically.
Excuse me.
Yo, find yourself a black person to talk to. Like, we're all around you. Find someone to connect with. Find someone to like. We're not sitting here like the Sasquatch where you can't find us. We're out in the woods. Like we're around. You see us. Like. Talk to another black person. If you're on a train, if you're in a bus, like something, like have a conversation, say hi. Like, we're not gonna sit here and bite you and attack you. And that's what I got from like that lady and her Republican friends. And she's like, it's a privilege that, you know, that like we have our mom and dads because like black people, they don't have their mom and dad or one of them's missing. I'm like, there's a reason behind that.
And just, I don't know. So those irritated me. And then I also remember a couple things where one, the ex-boyfriend said, "You have the complexion for the connection." I was like, "Ooh, that's a good way to say it," because I had never heard of that before.
Well, it's funny because it's true. Because white people mix with white people, and like I said, I think last episode or a few episodes back, where I'm like, I feel like I could roll up to like a Puerto Rican Day Festival and whatever, and it'd be cool and hang out with whatever, and it not be a problem. Because it's like there's a connection with someone else that also feels oppressed, that they can't go to certain places without being looked at. I'm not the only one that has this feeling. There's a bunch of us that feel the same way. So,
and then there was another part. It was towards the beginning of it where I forget what that place was called.
It was USC.
The place with all the
college kids. It was USC.
College
That's what you're talking
kids.
about. What are you talking about then?
Where all the people had died, the lynching.
Oh, yeah, that was someplace in Alabama. It was some national like place.
Yeah, and it was like really powerful, and like the woman's story of how ultimately like a white cop ended up like sacrificing his life for her.
I think it was a priest.
Priest, maybe.
Yeah, I think
something like that.
That was a priest that saved
Well, it was a white guy in like 65 who ended up taking a bullet for her from someone who was racist and wouldn't let her in the store after being in jail for 7 days straight with no food or water. Which, by the way, I don't know how you didn't die.
Dog.
Just saying. Like,
that story was sad because it's like how black people were treated there, just having basic like rights. Like, I just want to be treated just like you are. Like I'm not looking for anything extra. I'm just looking to just be human. Like
back then, it literally sounds like you couldn't breathe the wrong way or you'd be lynched.
Well, yeah, and we said this before on the podcast. God, I can't talk. Where it's like they had to drain pools. Maybe I didn't say this on the podcast. I think I said this probably to you. Where they had to drain pools if a black person even put their toe in.
Yeah.
That is wild. And then you know what happened years later? I think I learned this from Vice. Then community pools stopped being a thing, and white people started getting their own pools at their houses because they didn't have to deal with that.
Huh.
So we're all up in the suburbs where the whole neighborhood is white.
And has all the pools.
Exactly. Don't have to worry about this issue. You can bring little Timmy over here because I know he's white.
Timmy.
I'm just saying. Like,
think of the whitest names.
And we sit there. I don't know. Everything's bad. Everything's bad. And things are getting better over time, of course. And I love seeing that. It's just.
But it's also different. The thing is, it doesn't necessarily get better. It just is a different form of racism or harming or
I feel like
segregating.
I could be wrong. We'll find out when we get older into this. But I feel like the kids coming up that are going to be replacing all these old people that are going to be dying off sooner rather than later.
Mature people.
No, screw that. If you're racist, I don't have... No, screw
God.
that. Nah. Like, it's not happening. If you're racist, I'm not giving you any proper title. I feel like we see people differently. Like, we see people with more empathy, more respect, more love. Like, I dig these kids coming up.
Well, yeah, and like we've talked about, too, there's going to be more mixed kids as time goes on.
Yeah.
So, automatically, it kind of... you shut down that barrier.
Well, when you say by 2040, like, a lot of the race is going to be the same color, like, that is wild. And I also feel like that's kind of a thing where like, supposedly, so I'm going to touch back on the political thing, where, like, Republicans are, like, worried that they're losing, like, their majority because they're losing more of the white people, and especially as things become more, like, inclusive instead of exclusive, it's like, all right, we have a problem.
There was a meme, and I don't know where it is at this point, and it was perfect. It was saying about how the most recent debate with the 10 Democrats, basically how it was all mixed up there. You know, you had...
Oh, yeah.
You had black people, Hispanic, Asian, gay people, women. There was like several other categories that they filled.
You had America.
And it literally said, it's like, whatever you want to say about them as Democrats or them as people or whatever, this is America. This is what you're looking at, is a mixture of people and backgrounds and all that.
Mixture of people that all want better for themselves and for the world. Like, no one's up there with the agenda of being like, we're gonna suppress these people, we're gonna do this. Like, it's all about, just us coming together.
Yeah, but this gets more political.
I'm just saying. I'm just adding more to this because I don't know. I haven't.
See, I'm a person who if we're going there personally, I vote based on who I think will just do the best job and who has the best interests at heart and stuff. I never really affiliated myself with a party. I do tend to lean more towards Democrat, but for Connecticut last year for the midterms, I had voted for a Republican because we all see now a year later that would have been a heck of a better decision with all these tax increases. But so like I never like affiliated myself because I never understood that logic, how it's like, this party will always do the best job.
Well, no.
Like, no, we're people at the end of the day. And we're all going to have our own biases that go into our job as a Republican or a Democrat.
I feel like that's how, like, our parents felt and, like, the older people felt.
Yeah.
And as we grow and mature and take over the world as the more dominant people, because everyone dies off and, new things start, you're going to see a change in that. Like, I'm waiting for there to be, like, a new party in general. Like, or new subgroups or something. Because it doesn't... if you look at both groups, it's like, all right, I like things from this one, I like things from this one. Like, why are we... Why is this happening?
That's usually the... what's it called? The one that never gets any votes. That third.
But just in general, like, a lot of things need to change.
Not individual. What is the word I'm trying to think of?
I don't know, Doc.
Wow. I don't know. It's like the person who gets like 2% of the votes because at the end of the day, like they don't get as much publicity as the Democrats and Republicans.
I don't know. But
they usually have some both.
What I would like as a call to action to everyone listening,
love thy neighbor.
If you were white,
literally.
I'm so curious. Have a conversation with like your best friend, because that's probably the safest person, best friend or an open family member that's willing to talk to you. Have a conversation and say like, do you feel uncomfortable around black people maybe, or Spanish people or Asians, or like, I don't know, kind of open it up.
This would be really funny though if I brought it up to my friends now that I think about it, because they've been around you, so they'd be like, what?
Yeah, but there's a difference.
They'd be like,
there's a difference, because they'd be like, oh no, I got that one black friend. Like, no, there's a difference, because like I have a gay friend, but I'm not automatically being like I have that, like, I'm not automatically saying, hey,
that you understand everything.
Yeah, like I don't know. So there's a difference. Like, you could have that with someone from a different race, but it's like, do you like us as a whole instead of just liking one person? And then if you're black, Spanish, whatever, I would have this conversation with like your white friend if you have one. If you don't have any, which is cool, no judging, because we're all in our boxes. Have a conversation with like a friend that's the same color or something. Just talk about it. I kind of just want, and not like a hate thing, but just I like having these thoughts with people and having these like conversations with people. Like this podcast is just based on us having conversations that we would normally have sitting down, which we always have. So it's like just taking the time to sit back and think. It's just a cool thing. I'm always interested in knowing people's opinions. And if you have these conversations and you want, like, I'm so curious to know what comes out of it, send us a voice message through anchor.fm/PagingTheSimpsons, link in the description, and let us know, like, what happens in this outcome for you.
And also, something I found that she said, which is very true. If you're a white person talking to a black person and they're telling you about the stuff they've been through and, all the stuff, let them talk and don't, it's kind of funny because I talk over you all the time, but I just get excited on the podcast. But if it's something more serious, let them have that space and don't be trying to, it's a delicate area where it's like, don't try to change their opinions. Don't try to fight it. Don't try to, anything, because it's like that's their truth, and just like let them have that kind of time and space to open up to you and feel like they could do it again, kind of thing, because that's very real. That's very real. When you got to put it in your own perspective when you're talking about something that makes you really vulnerable, and that someone may completely disagree with. You would hope that they still will have the common decency to hear you out and to believe you. So, yeah.
I'm with it. Let us know your thoughts, questions, anything, all that stuff in the description. I know it's the last 2 episodes, but we now have a website, PagingTheSimpsons.com. From there, if you want to check it out, it gives you the story about us, like how we met, things like that. You can find it on that website.
I wrote it. It's amazing. I know.
And then also I created a section called Beyond the Podcast. So topics that maybe we haven't touched on the podcast, or maybe we plan to in the future. That's just a place to go to, just for more content, written in text format, not audio, but still something you go to and get our thoughts on. You can all find it in Beyond the Podcast on our website. And I also created a section, help out anyone that's interested in podcasting. I'm just kind of laying down my own thoughts and experiences doing this. So I have a section there, how to start a podcast, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think that's it. I'm going to leave out on saying, check your privilege and be aware of how you treat people.
Mic drop.
All right. With that being said, guys, we will see you next week. I'm Shadell, co-host of Paging the Simpsons. I'm joined by my lovely fiancé,
the extremely stuffy Lauren.
And we will see you guys later.
Bye.
Peace.